Hello. I'm just going to wait a little bit and let people join. This is the very first episode of Tea with Ke, Industry Insight with me, Joanna Ke. I'm a professional script reader, writer, actor, and producer, if you don't know who I am. And today I am drinking, this is my favorite tea, is green tea. I don't care what kind of green tea it is, I just love green tea. And this mug is from when I went to the Buffalo Niagara Film Festival. I taught a workshop there on script reading and what script readers do there, which is actually very appropriate for today because today's topic is script reading. So this is the first episode and I'm very excited. So excuse me if there's some technical stuff that I have to figure out because I'm using some new technology. So excuse any of that, and if anything happens, if you're like, something's wonky, please let me know in the comments. Even if this is afterwards, let me know, like, I couldn't hear you there, whatever. I definitely need the input so I can improve wherever I need to. So thank you for joining me today, even if you're here afterwards. This is a topic that we're talking today about script readers, which is near and dear to my heart because I've been doing it for many, many years. I get so many questions about what exactly script readers do. And people in Hollywood, some people don't even know what a script reader is. So I wanted to make my first topic on script readers so that I can let everybody know about that. And first, I just want to start out with just me and where I am in my career. I just got back from World Fest, International Film Festival in Houston, which is my hometown. I'm so excited because that's where I grew up, and so it's just meant a lot. I wrote, produced, and star in a film. It's called Protectress. It's a fantasy action film directed by America Young. And so we had our Texas premiere at World Fest, and we won a gold Remy, woohoo, which is like amazing. And so I just got back from there, and in a couple days we will have Protectress screening at Artemis Women in Action Film Festival this weekend. Tomorrow is the red carpet, so I've been trying on different outfits and things today for that, which is really exciting. I'm super excited about that. Paul Feig is going to be there. I'm like, just so over the moon about it. So that's kind of what's going on with me. And I'm also just continuing to write Protectress. It's a short film and it's a proof of concept for a feature. So I'm finishing up the feature right now. So I'm doing lots of producery writer work at the moment. And if you want any more information about Protectress, you can go to the website. It's protectressfilm.com. I'll link it in the comments in case anybody wants to check it out. You can see the trailer on our website, and there's a behind the scenes video if you want to check that out and sign up for the newsletter. So that'll be really fun. So I just want to go ahead and get into the topic because I have a lot to say about script reading and script readers. And by the way, if you are enjoying yourself a cup of tea or a coffee with me today, or as you are watching this video, please let me know in the comments what you're drinking. I love tea. This is my fourth cup today. I just love it. So especially if you have a certain tea that you love, I want to know. So put it in the comments. And I really love cool mugs. I especially love really big mugs. So if you have a cool mug that you think I should check out, please let me know. Okay, let's talk about our topic today, which is script readers and script reading. So I'm a professional script reader. So first of all, let's just talk about what is a script reader? What the heck is a script reader? It is exactly what it sounds like. It is somebody who reads and analyzes scripts. Oh, hi guy, I saw you just joined. We're talking about script readers today. And if you have any questions while I'm going over anything about script reading, go ahead and, throw me a comment. Just remember there's a 20-second delay, so, I might get to you a minute or something after you leave your comment. So just remember that there's a little lag with the Facebook Live. So like I said, script readers do exactly what they sound like. They read scripts. Now, why would this be needed? It sounds like such an easy job I get to read for a living, right? Yes yes, it's cool, and no, it's not. It's not so easy at the same time. So script readers, we work for studios, we work for producers, we work for directors. Big name actors, they hire script readers because all of these people are always receiving all kinds of scripts from writers that either want their scripts produced. Studios send scripts to actors, say, hey, we want you to be in this, would you consider this, whatever it might be. And so somebody has to read all those scripts, and obviously the big decision makers aren't going to take their time reading something that's not worth their time. I would say it's probably about 95% of what I read is bad. And obviously we don't want to waste the big guys' time on bad scripts. So that's why script readers exist, so that we can filter out the bad content. And that's why also sometimes you can hear script readers are referred to as gatekeepers. Because of that, because we kind of are playing that role where we're letting past us, what really needs to be seen, somebody actually needs to take their time to read. And so in that way, I think there's kind of a misconception, I feel like, with script readers in the industry, that we're kind of like these rabid bulldogs at the gate that won't let you in. I would love to clear that up because as a script reader, I always want your script to be good. Whenever I read a script, I am never like, oh God, this is gonna suck. I'm like, I hope this is amazing because I want to tell somebody about it. I want it to go forward. I want somebody to succeed. So I just feel like, if there's anybody out there who has a kind of, picture of what a script reader is, and that they're kind of this, person who's just, been jaded by the industry and they're just like, reading your script and hoping it fills. That's actually not true. All of us want to read a good script. So we want you to succeed. And so what we do is after we read a script and then we submit something called coverage. Now that is the report that we give whoever we're sending, be it the studio, be it producer, whoever it is, on the script. So a coverage includes a log line, a synopsis, and notes. Now, the notes are an analysis of the screenplay, and they often include development notes. Development notes are what a reader says, okay, I see this is going on with this script, this is weakening the script, maybe if they change these things, it could help strengthen it. So included in that coverage is also a recommendation. And there's 3 levels of recommendation. There's pass, consider, and recommend. Now, those 3 things, the one that's usually used the most is pass. Pass means don't even take your time to read this. We're not, going to consider this at all. That could be anything from major issues with the writing to, it's just not right for the studio or for the production company at the moment. So just because you receive a pass, if there's a pass that's, put on a screenplay, it doesn't necessarily mean that the writing is bad. It could mean, hey, you know what? We have a script already about, a flood in New Orleans, and this script is about a flood in New Orleans. We're going to pass on this because we already have, one of these in our wheelhouse. Or maybe, we're a company that does a lot of horror movies. This is a romantic comedy. This is not in our wheelhouse. We're going to pass on this, even if it's well written. So that's something that just to keep in mind. Just because you receive a pass, or if you see a pass on something, it does not mean that it's a bad script. Consider means that this script, it's workable. Something is good about this. There's something going on with this script. We like it, but some things need to be changed. And so there's usually always development notes that are offered with a consider. Recommend means this is awesome. This is good to go. Like somebody needs to go make this now. So those are the 3 levels that are always included in a coverage. The 3 levels of recommendation that a reader will use. So, let's talk a little bit more about script readers, and also maybe another term that you might have heard, which is consultants. Now, there's a difference between a script reader and a script consultant. And I want to clear that up because I don't think that most people realize that. So you might have seen, somebody advertising their services saying that, I'm a script consultant. I will read your script for you and help you improve your screenplay. That's not the same thing as a script reader. Now, a script reader is somebody who works for a company, a studio, and they do exactly that. What I said, they read the scripts that come in, they filter what comes in, make sure that the cream of the crop gets to the top. And a script consultant is different. They're working not for a company, but they're working for a writer. They're working for a writer so that they can help them improve their work. Now, that means that a script consultant can have a very different background from a script reader. A script consultant could be somebody that maybe was the head of a studio before. A script consultant can be somebody who's never worked as a script reader. Maybe they're just really good at writing comedy. They could, script consultants often specialize in certain areas. So, there's ones that specialize in horror, or they specialize in comedy, or somebody, they used to work in development, at a television studio somewhere. And so they like to help with pilots or teleplays. So it doesn't mean that this person has experience that a script reader does. A script reader, somebody like me, I'm actually both. I'm a reader and a consultant. I'm a reader when I'm working for the companies that I read for, and I'm a consultant whenever I read for my writer clients, and I do both. Now for me, I am a freelance reader, and there's two different types. There's freelance and there's in-house readers. So a freelance reader like me, this is why, welcome to my home office. This is my home office. I work from wherever I want, and I work for whoever I want. And so an in-house reader is somebody that it's exactly what it sounds like. They go in-house to the studio or production company, and they work exclusively for that company. So they're not reading all kinds of different scripts. My experience, I've read for all different kinds of companies. I still read for all different kinds of companies. So my exposure is a little bit different because I'm not exposed to just one studio or one production company. I read anything and everything, including, having my own writing clients. So I know this is a lot of information and I'm going really fast. So even if you're watching now, like Guy, if you have any questions, or anybody who's watching this afterwards, just pop a question in there. If I'm going too fast, you're like, hey, could you expand on this more? Just let me know. So like I said, two different types of readers, freelance and in-house. Me, I'm a freelancer, so I can't speak to in-house because I've never been an in-house reader. I always wanted to have that freedom of working for multiple companies and being able to work remotely from wherever. That's one of the really nice things about being a reader for me, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. So let's talk about, how a script reader is qualified to do what they do. So, because a lot of people ask me, a question I get a lot, and actually somebody asked me this and wanted me to cover this, which is, how did you get started? How did you even get into this in the first place? Because a lot of people don't even realize it exists. I was very fortunate that I came across a listing for a class. It was in some community brochure somewhere, and it said read all day and get paid for it. And I was like, okay, well, let's just see what the heck this is about. And it was actually from a studio, an in-house studio reader. He had decades of experience, and he wanted to spread the knowledge. So I was very fortunate. That was my first exposure. I took a class from him. And Guy, I see your question there. Do you freelance for a studio or a producer? I do both. I work for different studios. I work for different networks. I have my own screenwriting clients, and I also work for. There's so many different companies in the industry that need script readers. So one of the other people that I read for is a sales agent, which is a little bit different because when a script gets to that stage, this might be above some people's heads because this gets into, funding and the whole development side. But when I read for a sales agent, it's a little bit different because at that point, a script is already in production. There's already people attached. It's probably already shooting, and at that point, we're moving into getting pre-sales and things. And so, coverage depends. The style of the coverage depends on the company, and also depends on who I'm reading for. What level of development is this script at? So I have experience from, I read from all the way, from first drafts all the way to like, this is already in production, there's big names attached. So I read for everyone, basically. My first company that I ever read for was a literary management company. And that was amazing training, because a literary management company, they get anything and everything. They get comedies, they get short films, they get teleplays, they get horrors, they get, like the whole gamut. So I was very fortunate again in that way, that my first experience as a script reader, I got exposed to all different kinds of material. So, and that particular company that I read for, they had a really, really great program for training their readers. So not all readers are cut from the same cloth. I mean, that's really important to know. Just because somebody tells you that they're a reader or even a consultant, you need to ask what their background is. So if you're a writer, you're a director, you're a producer, and you want a script reader, I always recommend that ask them for their resume. More importantly, ask them for samples of their coverage. And I would ask for 2 samples of coverage so that you can see what this person's style is. Because when you see somebody's coverage, you'll get to see really quickly what they're like. How do they give notes? A really good script reader will be able to not just tell you what's working and what's not, but the ability to tell you why. It's a pretty analytical thing. I always like to say script reading is where the creative side starts to meet the business side. This is where we start moving into, okay, what kind of, a script reader is telling the company what kind of property this is. Why is this good? Why is this not? But at the same time, the script reader has to also sometimes communicate and give notes to writers. So they have to be able to speak that creative language so that a writer can receive notes and implement them to be able to improve their work. And this is where me personally, I feel like you can really tell a strong consultant and reader from one that's not so strong, because some readers, I like to compare script readers to like a food critic. A food critic, they don't necessarily know how to cook up the dish, but if they tasted it, you can be like, I have flavors of this, maybe a little bit more salt. Oh, if there was a little more cardamom here, that could help. But they're not the ones that are sitting out there, cooking up. They're not a chef. So that's something else. Just because somebody's a reader does not mean that they are a screenwriter or a strong screenwriter. A script reader knows and understands the basic elements of a screenplay that make it strong, that make it work. However, some readers do not understand that. Some readers, all they can say is, this doesn't work, I was bored with this, I was bored with that. Their notes are more general. It's still valuable for a studio to know those things, but they won't be able to give you effective notes on how to improve it or specifically state, this is what's going on. I'm very detailed. That's one of my strengths. I'm very good at that. Which is why I've been able to be a reader for so long, and why people hire me to do what I do, because I'm really good at those specific notes. Other script readers, this is why I say, you need to ask for samples of coverage. If you're a writer and you're saying, I'd like a reader to read my script, make sure that this person is giving you the kind of notes that you want. Because I have seen coverage from readers. I used to manage a team of readers at one company that I was with, and so I saw what their coverage was like. And there are some readers that will give coverage, unfortunately, that is difficult to understand. And I know screenwriters that have gotten notes back from companies where it's like, okay, I'd love to know why this was passed on. They get the notes back and they don't understand why it was passed on. And that could be because maybe the company didn't pass on all the notes, who knows. But a lot of times what I've found when I've read some readers' notes, they just don't make sense. It's kind of like a lot of flowery language without like the basics of, okay, this is why this doesn't work, this reason, this reason, this reason, and these are the things that could improve it. So this is my experience, even personally. I'm a screenwriter. That's what I want to know. I want you to break it down, tell me what I need to know, give it to me in layman's terms. Don't give me some flowery metaphors about, whatever you liked about the script. A good scripter will be able to be objective, because first of all, they are detached from the script. This is why screenwriters cannot analyze their own scripts. You are too close to the story. It's like, you're down on the ground building the building, and a script reader is like up in the sky in a helicopter and able to see how it's all coming together. And then there's, okay, you know what? That balcony right there is a little bit crooked. You need to, or the foundation is a little off. I can see from up here, things are going to fall off. People are going to fall off the balcony if you put them on there. So scripters have that objective perspective. And the other thing that a script reader offers, if you're looking for a consultant and they have been a reader like me, I've read, I can't even tell you how many scripts that I've read. It's just that experience of seeing what works and what doesn't, because I've read so many, that really helps. So that's like, if you find a consultant that specializes in comedy, maybe, they were the head of a studio, and you can see their credits. Oh, they helped to develop, such and such, whatever TV show that, you really loved or whatever that was successful. Okay, I want their opinion because they know what it's like, behind the scenes. So, finding a script reader, if you're looking for one, is really, you have to find the one that's going to give you the notes that you're going to be able to take in and digest and implement. And also the one that, it's a personal relationship. Writing is a creative process. Writing is very personal. I mean, I find that even, as a writer. And then for those of you that might be interested in becoming a reader, I can't emphasize enough, you need to read. And this is one of the reasons why, yes, it's fun, but it's one of those things, I forget what the phrase is. I know there's some phrase out there, but it's kind of like, I love to eat chocolate, but then if I have to eat chocolate for a living, maybe some days it just won't be so fun because maybe I don't feel like reading or eating chocolate on this day and I have to eat it anyways. And so that's what happens. A lot of what you read as a script reader is not good material. So it's not like you're reading Stephen King novels, forever, because there's a reason why these scripts need to be read. Most of them are not up to par. I don't mean that in a bad way. For me as a writer, it actually helped me incredibly because it was like, wow, I just had this perception of what, was out there and the material that was out there. And you can see, where the industry is really at. And it's like, I can do this. It gives you confidence. So if you're a screenwriter, I highly, highly recommend getting some experience as a reader. Even if you just, intern somewhere for a couple months, just get out there and see what is actually out in the market, see what people are actually submitting. It'll give you a certain confidence and it'll help you learn, what are the studios actually looking for? What are people actually looking for? So my recommendation, if you're becoming a script reader, if you can find some kind of education and training, please do that. It's going to help you immensely. This is why, like I said, I found a company that had a really good training program. I learned from a studio reader before I started putting myself out there for script reading gigs. And that put me above, I'm still above par because most script readers do not seek out reading. People just hear, oh, it's just reading, and oh, well, anybody could do that. That's not true. You have to understand what the core elements of a screenplay are, and you have to understand them from a different perspective than as a writer. And that means that you have to keep reading scripts and learn and get feedback on your notes and improve your notes so that you can get to a point where you are a really good reader. Readers mean that you're not just reading quickly, it means that you give good notes. Both of those things combined make you a very good reader. So let's see, what's the other thing I wanted to talk about? the other thing that makes a good reader is readers know the companies that they work for. So, I gave the example before of, maybe there was a pass that was given on a script because this is a horror film company. Somebody has submitted a romantic comedy, and guess what? Like, we don't do those. So this is an automatic pass. And so, let me just make a comment, kind of a side comment on that. I've seen it enough to where it makes you, even if you have a good script as a writer, it makes you look so bad as a writer, because it's like, did you even look up the company you were submitting it to? It makes it look like you just kind of, you're just sending it out and seeing who will bite. But that's not, you need to do your research, because if you don't actually get to know the companies that you want to submit for, it makes you look bad. It's just like, well, this person doesn't, obviously, they haven't done their research, they haven't done their homework. It makes you look more green. And when you come off as a green writer, there's less trust in you that you will be able to handle notes, be able to handle, the development process, because it can be, when I give notes on something, I give them differently if I'm giving them for a studio or if I'm giving them for a writer. When I'm giving them to a writer, I understand that I'm talking directly to a creative person and I'm helping you, I'm talking one-on-one with you. Versus if I'm talking to a studio, my notes are for them. They're not for you, but you will get the notes that I pass on to them, which means that they could come off cold, they can come off harsh, but you have to understand that when I'm working as a reader for a company, I have to let them know precisely and quickly, this is what's working and this is what's not and this is what needs to be improved, because they're moving fast and there's a lot of material. So there's a little difference whenever you're working with a consultant and a reader. I could read the same script from, a writer versus a company. I'm going to give the same notes, but I just might phrase things a little bit differently so that they land a little bit softer with you as a writer, to help you if I'm working with you as a consultant. I see, guys, another question. As someone who knows what a studio or producer may want, would you listen to a concept to see if it's even viable story to write as a script? Yes, I definitely listen. And thank you for your question, Guy. I definitely listen to it. But what it always comes down to how it's written on the page. Everybody has an idea. Like, this is something that so many people, so many writers, like, even after I've given notes on a script, a writer will say, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if I changed this? And I can say, it sounds good, but what matters is what's on the page. How was this actually executed? So, if you were to tell me, okay, you read for such and such company, do you think a premise like this would work? Then I could say, yeah, go ahead, write it, and then let's see how it comes off on the page. Premises, seeing if a premise or a concept would work for a particular company, that's easier to say, yes, that could work. But again, it always comes down to what is actually on the page. It's like, the best way I can describe it is like, if you're a dancer and you're talking to a dance coach and they're like, what if I did a pirouette and then I did a, whatever here, I don't know dance terms, but, and, versus you're like, let me show you what I'm going to do. Tell me if it works. It's that how you actually execute it that matters. Because anybody has a great idea, anybody can have a great idea, but can you actually do it? Can you actually write it? That's what matters. Because when I'm reading a script, there's another layer that comes in here, which is, I mentioned that whenever I write a coverage, I'm saying pass, consider, or recommend. Now I'm doing that both for the actual screenplay itself, and I also do that for the writer. How is this writer's strength? Should we pass on this writer, consider, or recommend? Maybe we have a really good script. This is a great concept. We love it. But this writer is not so strong. I don't think he could handle a rewrite. I don't think she could, it's just, this is not something that's in her strength. She's just not good at dialogue. This is great, but she's just, we can't trust her to do the rewrite because the skill level isn't there yet. There is something that, I've grown this muscle at this point, and most readers have this muscle. You might have heard that, a reader can tell from the first page if a writer is strong or not. And that's true. It's true, and it comes from having read so many scripts. You can tell right off the bat. It comes down to effective word choice. It comes down to, do they understand how to format a screenplay correctly on the page? How is the dialogue written? Is there more dialogue than action? It's absolutely true that just from one page, a script reader can tell the level of writing that a writer is at, but especially after reading an entire script. And so, you might have a good concept, but it's possible that somebody, they might be interested in your script, but not you as a writer. And so that's a note that I often have to give. There's one company that I read for right now, and they do TV movies, and it moves faster. Things move faster in television, and so I have to be able to say, okay, we need somebody new right away. It's hard. The industry moves quickly. Television moves more quickly than films, and we have to be able to get these projects done. And so again, it's something you can't take personally, but you also, if that ever happens to you, they say we want a different writer, they like your concept, I would ask for feedback and learn and understand why. Because there's a quote, and I'm sorry I forget who it's from. It's real writing is rewriting, and that is so where it's at, because if you cannot rewrite, that is a huge detriment to you as a writer. That's, rewriting is really where everything takes place. Being able to take notes. It's like an actor being able to take direction. If an actor can't take direction on set, be able to, move in it's, shift from different things, then, we're not going to hire that person because we can't trust them to stay with us through the whole process, because they don't have the skill yet, or maybe whatever it might be that might be causing that. So yeah, it's both, whenever there's a coverage, it's both rating the writer as well as rating the actual material. And so that's the other thing. If you're interested in becoming a script reader, why you need to be able to read, why I recommend you read so many scripts, because you're going to be eventually you'll start to be able to identify good writing and bad writing. And you need to read both good scripts and bad scripts. So yes, everybody wants to read the Golden Globe winners and the Oscar nominated scripts, and absolutely read those scripts. Look at what's good, look at what's hot on the market right now. Equally as important, you need to read what's bad. There's different sites out there. I know that there's a Reddit that's out there that has, people just post their scripts. They're not name writers yet, and you can go and read their scripts. Highly recommend it. And you can even offer to give them notes if you want, because you need to see the difference in writing, the difference in the different levels, so that you can understand, okay, so this is what it's like when a screenplay is not formatted well. This is the kind of note I would give whenever the dialogue isn't working. This is what it looks like when a screenplay is not structured well. So understanding all of that makes you a good script reader. And so it's kind of like, I love food, so I keep talking about food. But it's like if you've only tasted chocolate cake from, the grocery store, and you don't know what like an amazing chocolate cake from, gourmet, like amazing chef, tastes like, you are not going to be able, you don't have the vocabulary, you don't have the knowledge or the experience to be able to offer in your notes whenever you're reading a script or analyzing a script. So that's my recommendation if you're interested in script reading. Before you even go out and you're trying to, read for somebody, get that experience. Now, the thing about a lot of companies these days is they will farm out their script reading. Instead of having like a designated script reader, some companies, they will have their interns do it, or they'll have a position where it's one person, they do multiple things, and one of the things they do is a script reader. So there's not just a dedicated script reader. Not every company has just a script reader. And we're also called story analysts, because that's exactly what we do. We analyze the screenplay. And so with that, I started talking earlier about how not all readers are cut from the same cloth. Some readers are interns, and they're just there for college credit, and they're reading your script, and you have to understand that those readers are not going to give you the same kind of notes as somebody like me, where I've had so many years of experience. My strength is in development and analyzing a script and being able to articulate all those different things. A script reader that's just doing it as a college intern, they won't be able to articulate in the same way, and you might get somebody like that reads your script. But it all comes down to, is your script strong? It's like if you read a good book, even though that reader that's an intern that's never had experience reading other scripts, it's like if you read a good book and you're not going to be able to tell me maybe exactly, why Harry Potter was so fantastic. Maybe you could, because it's amazing. But you could tell me, like, that's a really good book. You might not be able to tell me why, but you're like, go read that book. Same thing for an intern that's never had any experience. They're doing it for college credit, young college kid, and they're reading your script. And they won't be able to tell you why, but when a good script, when a script is actually good and all the elements are in place, you can tell. You can just tell. You might not be able to tell me why, but you'll be able to just, make this movie. So that's pretty much it. Let me see my notes. Let me look at my notes. Kristen is here. Hi, Kristen. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Oh, I love tea. Okay. Let's see. Sorry if that's loud. I'm turning pages. Let's see. Oh, I see your little hello. So the only other thing that I want to mention with this is, thank you, Kristen. Oh gosh, now I'm looking at your heart faces, and now I forgot what I was gonna say. Let's see. Don't you hate that whenever you have something that comes into your mind and then it just like goes away? It's like, now I have to remember, I have to like retrace in my mind what I was thinking about and then get back to what I was. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, I remember now. That was fast. Okay, so another misconception that I just want to clear up, and something that makes a good script reader, and it goes to a reader or a consultant being able to be objective. A script reader understands that there's basic elements of a screenplay that make it strong. And so if, for instance, you have a horror screenplay and you submit it to a consultant or a reader and they don't like horror movies, they say pass on your script. This is bloody and this is disgusting and whatever, I don't like it. That is a bad script reader. That is a bad consultant, because a good script reader, a good consultant, does not let their own personal opinions get in the way of a script. All of the core elements of a script are the same across every single genre. It doesn't matter what the genre is. Now, there might be a script reader that doesn't understand what makes a good joke. They're like a consultant, like I was mentioning before. Maybe there's a consultant in a comedy. They've done a comedy movie. Maybe they produced a comedy movie. Maybe they, were the head of a TV department somewhere that did comedies. They might understand, the crafting of a joke a little bit better, but the core elements of a screenplay are all the same across the genres. So that's something else to look out for. If you see somebody that's, lets that get in the way, and unfortunately there are some script readers and consultants out there that let their personal opinions get in the way of an objective, analysis of your script, that's not good. That's not good, because that means that their personal biases are coloring their feedback to you, and you don't want that. You want somebody that can just, kind of lay it out in layman's terms so that you understand it, that you have a good rapport with if you're looking for a script reader. And that is the same for you if you are looking to be a script reader. If you're finding that your personal biases are getting in the way of a script read, you need to understand, okay, like you need to take a step back and look at what you need to work on as a reader so that that doesn't happen. Like I said, I was very fortunate, and then I got to learn from a studio reader, and I worked with a literary management company that had a fantastic training program, in addition to my reading like hundreds and hundreds of scripts. I'm at a point in my career where I'm kind of moving out of reading so many scripts, and I am developing an online course in helping others to learn how to analyze scripts. That's not going to be out for several months, but there's different places where you can do online internships for different companies. So you can just look that up, online internship, script reader, entertainmentcareers.net or .com. I think it's .net, entertainmentcareers.net. They usually list some internships that are, you can telecommute, you don't have to go in and do it. And then obviously if you're in the LA area, there's some internships where, you could go in for a few hours a week, read some scripts, get those connections and get that experience. So, if you're interested in learning from me, you can go to my website. It's somewhere around here, joannake.com. You can sign up for my newsletter, or you can just send me a message, and just say, hey, I'm interested in learning how to script read. And then whenever I have my online course, it'll probably be 6 months from now. My first online course that I'm really excited that I'm going to be releasing within the next 2 or 3 months is, it's about writing female characters. Like I said, at the beginning, I just wrote, produced, and I star in Protectress, which is a fantasy action. It's a female empowerment story. And one of the reasons why I wrote what I did and I created what I did is because of my experience as a script reader and as an actress, because all the scripts that I read, and seeing the breakdowns as an actress, I realized that, the roles that I really wanted to play, strong female characters is usually what it's referred to. It's just really dynamic, well-rounded female characters, they just weren't out there. And so I decided to write it myself. And because of my experience in seeing so many screenplays and as an actress and as a writer, I decided that, I really wanted to help people understand how to write more dynamic female characters. So that's the course that I'm developing right now. There's just a blank website right now. It's femalecharacters.com. If you're interested in that, you can sign up. And that's my first online course that I'll be releasing. And then after that, I'll be releasing how to learn how to analyze scripts. I'm considering taking on a few individuals to work personally with, to learn how to read scripts, learn how to analyze scripts. I'm very good at what I do. I've been doing it a very long time. I naturally have an analytical and creative mind. It's weird, and they work really well together. So if you are that way, you're like, I think I'd be really good at this, then you probably would be really good at script reading. But if there's anybody that's interested in that, shoot me an email and let me know. You can go to my website, you can send me a message, you can send me a message through here. I'm considering it. I'm just seeing if there's any interest out there. So yeah, that is my spiel on script reading. So I hope it was informative. It was a lot. That's the basics of script reading. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments. I'll be monitoring the comments after. You just let me know, if you have any questions. If you don't want to post a comment publicly, you have, something you want to ask me, you can go to my website, send me a message through there. You can send me a message through here on my Facebook page, and I'll be more than happy to answer, if I can, anything for you. But I get so many questions about, what a script reader is, how did you get into it? So that's why I chose this as my very first topic. You're welcome, Guy. I hope it helped. I hope it was informative. So, this is my first Tea with Ke. I'm super excited. There's going to be, I'll be talking about, writing, producing, script reading. Obviously I'm doing many things. I wear multiple hats. And so this will be a weekly Facebook Live, and I hope that you will join me for a cuppa each week. Next week, it'll be same time. It'll be Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, so you can join me again here. And I will have a different tea. Well, I just love tea. And next week, I haven't decided what the topic will be. I just kind of wanted to see how this topic went. Wanted to see how many questions there were, because if there's some questions, I get so many questions about script reading, because it's just not something that people talk about in the industry, and it's very rare that you get to talk one-on-one with a script reader. So I'm going to see if there's any more questions that pop up between now and then. I might continue to cover script reading next week, but I'll post it. I'll let you guys know what the topic will be. And if there's something specific that you want me to cover, let me know, put it in the comments. Let me know if you'd like me to talk about anything specific. I'm a writer, I'm a producer, like you already know, I'm a script reader from everything I just said. I'm an actor, I've been in the industry for almost 15 years now. So just let me know if there's certain things you'd like me to cover. But thank you so much for joining me, and I am super excited because tomorrow I'm going to my very first big red carpet event at the Artemis Women in Action Film Festival for my film Protectress. You should check out our trailer if you haven't seen it yet. I star in the film. I learned sword fighting for it. If you haven't seen all my sword fighting videos, go look at them because they're fun. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you next week.